some reason I was changing the title. It didn't let me change the title, so I just going spiritual enlightenment. I think this is the title we gave when we started very first time these sessions just before COVID with our dear friend Avinash Prabhuji. If in case you didn't know that we were doing Bhakti Vriksha at home, I think every Friday or so. Friday, oh, it was in person at our place, but then COVID happened. Everybody was working online. Then we stopped, and then Avinash Prabhuji, who was in Dubai, he's still in Dubai working in Emirates. He had some time off, and he was going with some troubled time, and he contacted me saying that what could we do? And I said, well, the best thing I heard is going through Bhagavad Gita. It gives you the moral support because at this time, that's what we need. So we started Bhagavad Gita then, and we went through, I think, each and every single verse of Bhagavad Gita online, and that's how it started. So initially we didn't record; we were just doing. I think we started on WhatsApp, then we moved on to Zoom, and then one day he couldn't come. Then, of course, some other friend joined, and then he could not join, and he missed the session. And he said, well, could you next time please record so I could catch up? And then I recorded the session for him and I just shared with him. And next time, rather than recording, it went online, and I didn't know about it. It just went online. So, because when you go for it, there are few options. Do you want to go public? Do you want to go private? Or do you want to go unlisted? So, usually I do unlisted, or I used to do unlisted, where I share the link, and whoever has the link will able to go. But that time, like for example, now I could not change the title. So when this is going YouTube live, it doesn't say Nectar of Instruction, verse 2, part 2. It just says spiritual enlightenment. And that time it just went public. And some of the devotees, I would say, they got interested and they said, we would like to join and we would like to hear. And then I thought, it's great. And then we did Goloka chart. If you haven't seen the discussion on Goloka chart, we went into Goloka chart detail. Then, of course, we did Shri Ishopnishad, and now we are on Nectar of Instruction. So all those videos are there. We do the kids as well, and that's going online as well. Sunday 5 to 6. So feel free. It's for kids. Kids come. It's hybrid. So a few kids they come in person, and I tell you the questions they ask, beautiful, and a lot of interest there. So feel free to join the same link. The timing is just different, 5 to 6, and of course when summer come, then we move that to 6 to 7 because kids are usually out 5 to 6 around that time. So let's get further. And Hare Krishna, Adiya Mataji has joined. She's my God sister, as we say. And I contacted Mataji this morning because I didn't hear from her for a while. So I'm glad you're here to keep your blessings on me and on everyone. And just to have you in present, even though I know could be different circumstances, even if you can't talk, it's a good time. Good to have you. Just the presence itself feel like blessings. Hare Krishna. हम हमेशा कहते हैं कि हम सेशन इंग्लिश और हिंदी दोनों में करते हैं. सो नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन रूप गोस्वामी जी द्वारा रचित. अभी तक हमने जो भी ग्रंथ करे भगवत गीता, वो कन्वर्सेशन बिटवीन कृष्णा एंड अर्जुन, भगवान कृष्ण और अर्जुन के बीच का संवाद. फिर हमने श्री ईशोपनिषद जो कि उपदेश अमृत, हम ऋग हमने एक बच्चों के साथ में शेयर करी थी कि जो हमारे उपनिषद है वो ऋग्पाद का ही नीचे का हिस्सा है. तो श्री ईशोपनिषद भी ऐसे ही वेदों का एक हिस्सा है जो वेद व्यास जी ने किया. ये जो हम ग्रंथ कर रहे हैं पहली बार ऐसे है कि एक जो भक्त चैतन्य महाप्रभु जी के डायरेक्ट डिसाइपल रहे श्रीला रूप गोस्वामी जी, उनके द्वारा रचित है. ये भक्तों के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. शिला प्रभुपाद जी ने बहुत सारे ग्रंथों के अंदर जब भक्ति शास्त्री का कोर्स बनाया, उसके अंदर भगवत गीता, श्री ईशोपनिषद और दो ग्रंथ जो लिए वो दोनों ही ग्रंथ बाकी के Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, उपदेशामृत एंड भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु, ये दोनों ही ग्रंथ शिला प्रभुपाद जी ने जो इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट करे वो हमारे रूप गोस्वामी जी द्वारा ही रचित है. So it's a great, great depth. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's do Mangalacharan, take the blessings, and then we shall resume to the presentation of Nectar of Instruction, Verse 2. So feel free to join me if you like. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानजनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुन् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथवितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सवादूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखावितं च. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते. तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. शिला गुरुदेव महाराज की जय. शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. जय जय श्री राधेश. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. And I'm just going to stop this presentation and quickly bring the other presentation where we are going to continue where we left in Nectar of Instruction, verse 2. So verse 1, we would remember, हम नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन वर्स 1 के ऊपर हमने बहुत सारे सेशंस किए. वाचो वेगम मनसः क्रोध वेगम. वाचो, the spoken words, mansaha, mind, the thoughts, then the krodha, anger. And it's been explained at the end of chapter 2, chapter 3, the krodha comes from contemplation, and we have dealt in then jiba, udarupasthavegam. These 6 urges we could control, and now this was verse 1, and now we moved on to verse 2 of and I think that's right. I shared the link of I hope everyone has the link, because Prabhuji, this is Radhesham Prabhuji's presentation which I'm using, so the whole credit goes to Prabhuji. Next of instruction, I'm going to share the link here in Zoom, and I will share in, hopefully everyone has the access, but this is on vedabase.io. If we go there, a lot of books are there free of cost. All of those books by Srila Prabhupada ji. Srila Prabhupada ji did the translation. We are doing verse 2, text 2, which is Atyahara prayasacha prajalpo niyamagraha jansangascha lolyam cha Sharbhir Bhakti Vinashati. Last time we went into detail, we saw word by word translation. And today we will get further into the purports and the purports which has been given by Srila Prabhupada ji, but then Radheshyam Prabhu ji has gone into detail how to understand what it says. Some of the words we can understand right at the end, the last. So it's a shloka. There are 4 lines. The last line says Shadbhir. So 6. क्षणभर भक्ति विनश्यति विनश्यति भक्ति विनश्यति। भक्ति का विनाश हो जाएगा अगर हम ये 6 चीजें करेंगे या हम इनको कंट्रोल नहीं करेंगे, इनको मैनेज नहीं करेंगे। रिमेंबर वर्स 1 वाज द सेम, सिमिलर। वाचो वेगम मनसः क्रोध वेगम। we need to control, we need to engage these things. Similarly, now the 6 things been mentioned, these things if we will not take care, it will go pretty bad on us. And then verse 3, verse 4, all the positive. Remember, we discussed that it's Ashtang Yoga. Well, it's a Bhakti Yoga, but in Ashtang Yoga we have Yam Niyam. The very first 2 limbs of yoga is Yam Niyam, do's and don'ts. What we should not do, what we should do. Yam Niyam. Niyam we should do. It's a discipline. We got to do it. And Yam is like Yamraj. We should not do it. So don'ts and do. So first is, even in Ashtanga Yoga we see Yam Niyam. We don't do it, and then what we do it. Because there are a few things you might remember. We have discussed this. I think Srila Prabhupada ji mentioned it one time. Guru Maharaj ji said it in one of his previous lectures in a very funny way, that when 2 disciples, let's say musician, 2 friends, they go to the same musician teacher and say, we would like to learn piano, for example. And the teacher will say, okay, how much do you know? And the first person will say, well, I don't know anything. And say, okay, it will cost you, it will take you 3 months and it will cost you 1,000 pounds, for example, 1 lakh rupees. And then the other one will say, oh, well, I have done some of the piano, like grade 2 or grade 3. And then where did you learn it from? And then the person say, oh, I learned it at home myself. Okay. So it will take 6 months and it will cost you 2,000. So what? I already know. My friend doesn't know 3 months, 1,000 pound. And for me, 6 months, double the time and double the money. Why? Said, because with you, first I have to spend time doing undo what you already know. So I have to make you forget all that because you would have done it wrong way. Very similar thing they say for the driving also. When people from India, for example, come to London and they try to take the lessons, most of the time the driver. Now it's much easier because now they are automated, but it used to be manual a lot. So I remember going back 15, 20 years, the driver used to say, the instructor, driving instructor used to say, it will take more lessons because you got so many. Of course, more you have. If somebody has driven 10 years in Delhi, the driving skills are pretty bad. In one sense, they are pretty good to drive in Delhi, but not to pass the test here. So the driver will say, oh, well, you have to forget all that. And it's hard to forget. But if you start from the scratch, it's much easier for you to learn the correct thing straight away. Similar thing is here. Vacho vegam, mansaha, krodha vegam. If you control these 6 things, you can become a spiritual guru, a master, a guide, a mentor. And then here in Nectar of Instruction, verse 2, that these 6 things we need to take care of it. Otherwise, your bhakti will be vinashyati. So the first 2 verses in Nectar of Instruction, taking care of what we should do. उपदेशामृत में सबसे पहले जो 2 वर्स हैं वो ये बताते हैं हमें क्या नहीं करना चाहिए। अगर हम वो नहीं करेंगे तब हम भक्ति में जो चीज़ें हमें करनी है वो करने में हमें आसानी होगी। सो सबसे पहले अक्सर हम अपने बच्चों को ये कहते हैं कि अच्छी चीज़ सीखो ना सीखो, कम से कम बुरी चीज़ तो ना सीखो। तो नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन के अंदर पहले 2 वर्सेस हमें यही बताते हैं कौन सी बुरी चीज़ें हैं जो हमें नहीं करनी, या कौन सी चीज़ें हैं जिन पे हमें कंट्रोल करना है, हमें एंगेज करनी है। क्योंकि अगर हम भगवत गीता के अंदर जैसे एग्जाम्पल आता है कि अगर हम भागते हुए घोड़ों को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो बहुत मुश्किल है। भागते हुए घोड़े क्या हैं? एग्जाम्पल आता है, पांच घोड़े पांच सेंसेस की तरह हैं, और माइंड वो लगाम है जो वो घोड़ों को पकड़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. सो दे आर फाइव horses रिप्रेजेंट फाइव सेंसेस, एंड द माइंड इज the rein which is trying to control. If the horses are just slowly, gradually started riding, it's easier to control them. But once they have gone into wrong direction, it's very hard, and it's very laborious. It will take much more time to change their direction. Hence, the saying is nip in the bud. शुरुआत में ही अगर किसी चीज को रोक लिया जाए, किसी भी बुरी आदत को, तो इजियर है. अगर वो आदत बहुत टाइम तक आदत रहेगी तो वो हैबिट में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगी, लाइफस्टाइल में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगी, फिर उसको चेंज करने में बहुत मेहनत लगती है, चाहे हम किसी भी चीज के बारे में सोचें. तो ये नेक्टर इंस्ट्रक्शन 1 और 2 के पीछे है. कई बार भक्ति ये सोचते हैं कि आप नेगेटिविटी के ऊपर क्यों बात कर रहे हैं, क्यों उपदेशामृत के अंदर सबसे पहले जो उपदेश है वो इस चीज के हैं कि क्या चीज नहीं करनी चाहिए, कौन सी चीजों से नुकसान होता है, आप इस चीज की बात क्यों कर रहे हैं, क्यों रूप गोस्वामी जी ने इस चीज के ऊपर पहले फोकस किया, क्यों वर्स 3 और 4 वर्स 1 और 2 नहीं है. तो रीजन ये है, इसलिए हमको समझना इजी है. और कभी भी हम किसी के साथ में शेयर करें तो कोई ये प्रश्न पूछ सकता है कि जब ये चॉइस थी तो क्यों ऐसा किया गया, जब 4 वर्सेस थे तो 2 वर्सेस क्या नहीं करने चाहिए, 2 वर्सेस क्या करने चाहिए. पहले वो चीज़ पे फोकस किया जो चीज़ें नहीं करनी चाहिए, ताकि हम प्रिपेयर हो सके वो चीज़ें करने के लिए जो हमें करनी चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, recently I said to someone that I think if you will do yoga, it will help you. And of course, we do the meditation, and in meditation, we do the mantra meditation. All these things will help you mentally, physically. But the person said, "Oh, currently my body is so bad, I can't even sit like this." And then I thought, well, you got to fix that then, because you got to if they were physically, I wanted to suggest something, but person's body wasn't even fit to do that. Like the person said, I can't even sit on the chair for long. I say, okay, that's hard. Let's catch up again in few months time. Meanwhile, let's work on something else. तो हमें शरीर मन इतना तो सही करके रखना है कि हम भक्ति में लग पाए. अब हम आगे शुरू करते हैं कि नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन हमने लास्ट वीक शुरू किया. इसके अंदर ऑब्स्टिकल्स अगर हम देख के, क्योंकि वर्ड यूज हुआ है विनश्यति. विनश्यति वो है कि जो हम अपने मार्ग, भक्ति हमारा मार्ग है, भक्ति मार्ग की तरफ हम बढ़ना चाहते हैं, प्रोग्रेस करना चाहते हैं, हम साधक हैं, अपनी साधना को और पक्का करना चाहते हैं, लेकिन बीच में कुछ ऑब्स्टिकल्स आ रहे हैं. ये ऑब्स्टिकल्स अगर हम नहीं हटाएंगे या इनको पार करके नहीं आगे जाएंगे तो फिर हमारी भक्ति का विनाश हो जाएगा. So we got to be very careful what to do, what not to do. Consequences of not controlling the mind and senses. A very similar thing we saw in verse 1, but there were separate 6 things. Here they are separate 6 things. But we will see the focus is still the same. By his own choice, the conditioned souls has fallen under the jurisdiction of the material energy of the Lord. So what does this say? They say we cannot blame anyone. This is our choice. This is our choice. A lot of time we point fingers at others. हम कई बार कहते हैं अरे उनकी वजह से हमने ये किया. अभी रिसेंटली हमारे सन हैं 16 years old आर्यन. मैंने उन्हें कुछ कहा तो वो मेरे को कहते आप चाहते हो मैं ये करूं. मैंने कहा नहीं, मैं नहीं कह रहा कि आप ये करें. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आपको ऐसा करना चाहिए. आप समझो कि आपको ये क्यों करना चाहिए, मेरे कहने से मत करो. आप समझो इस चीज को कि आपको ऐसा करना चाहिए, और अगर आपको लगे ऐसा करना चाहिए तो आप करो. तो वो मेरे को कहते सेम चीज है. मैंने कहा सेम चीज नहीं है बेटा, क्योंकि अगर आप वो चीज आप इसलिए कर रहे हो क्योंकि मैंने आपको कहा है, उसके अंदर आपकी फुल्ली कमिटमेंट नहीं रहेगी. अगर कुछ खराब हो गया तो आप कहोगे कि डैड आपने कहा है. लेकिन अगर आप उसको फुल्ली ओन करके करोगे तो पहले तो जो आपकी कमिटमेंट पूरी होगी, और अगर उसके अंदर कुछ खराब होगा तो आप मेरे पास नहीं आ सकते कि डैड आपने कहा है, क्योंकि आपने उसकी पूरी ओनरशिप ली है. और जब हम ओनरशिप किसी चीज़ की लेते हैं तो हम पूरी कमिटमेंट के साथ में करते हैं. इसी वजह से जब भी हम भक्ति करते हैं, भक्ति में कोई भी साधना करते हैं, the best way to understand is that if we don't get the benefit. For example, yoga has been doing great for millions of people all around the globe. But some people they say, oh, yoga is not working for me. Then we need to realize it's not yoga. It's something we didn't do right. ये योगा तो काम कर ही रहा है सबके लिए, भक्ति मार्ग तो सभी के लिए काम करेगा, लेकिन अगर हमारे लिए काम नहीं कर रहा तो हमको चेंज करना है कुछ। भक्ति मार्ग को चेंज नहीं करना है, हमको चेंज करना है। हमारी अंडरस्टैंडिंग या जिस तरीके से हम फॉलो कर रहे हैं उसके अंदर कुछ चेंजेस हमें करने हैं। अंडर इट्स इन्फ्लुएंस ही हैज टू मीट द डिमांड्स ऑफ द बॉडी विच इज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफ दिस एनर्जी। So we got to live in the, we are in this prison of the body. We got to work with this, but how we can manage, and that's what we are trying to work on. So, how to meet these basic demands in a way that fosters spiritual progress rather than material entanglement. Srila Prabhupada ji said number of times that we need to make the most out of this bad bargain. So the body is there. We got to take care of the body. If we go hungry, if you will go to the hungry person and say, take this bead and chant, it's not fair. The person will not able to chant. However, if a devotee will get hungry, devotee might able to chant even if the prasadam is not being served. But if the person is not a devotee, person is under the influence of the body, you will have to feed the body, you will have to take care of the body. Like the example I shared, if the person is not fit enough, person is diseased and all, then you got to get rid of the disease. However, at the same time, you can continue bhakti. It's not that, oh, I will only come to the bhakti once I'm at this level. Continue with bhakti, but you got to understand that the launch pad is the body. So hence we got to take care of the body. Gauranga Das Prabhuji said it, and Gauranga Prabhuji said it, and I think Gaur Gopal Prabhuji said it, that every morning they do some kind of yoga, physical exercises to keep themselves fit. The physical body needs to be fit. But why do we want to keep physical body fit? Not for the material engagement, not more for the material sense gratification, but for spiritual progress. तो कभी हमें किसी ने कहा कि शादी जल्दी कर लेने से और बच्चे जल्दी करने से ये फायदा होता है कि जब आपके बच्चों की शादी होगी तो आप बहुत यंग होंगे, आप बहुत यंग लगेंगे। तो ये पूरा मटेरियल लेवल का रियलाइजेशन है। एंड दिस इज another realization, but it's all material. However, for the same example, we can twist that if you have served your family well, then you will have your body good enough ready for the spiritual progress, because now you have more time for the spiritual. And I can say personally as well, now my kids 16 and 13, they are self-reliant, self-dependent. They don't want to, even like any other teenagers, they don't even want to spend time unless they need something. So which means, in one sense, if you think about it, we have more time, which we can spend spiritually. Hence, I'm doing courses from Mayapur Institute, serving wherever I can, Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, Mayapur Institute in Mayapur. So you have more time which you can spend spiritually. Why? Because your body is much more fitter. So the same example, but rather than you're going to look younger or feel younger, uh, you will able to serve better. Hence, it's good to take care of the body. And this is the verse which you read. Attihara prayasacha prajalpo niyamagraha jansangascha lolyam cha. This is supposed, okay. The Sanskrit, I think it changes into a different language, like a kind of Spanish or French, the dialect. The font needs to be installed. So either in my laptop or maybe when Prabhuji, because this is a PDF. Even if on my laptop, because I think in my laptop the Sanskrit verses are Sanskrit fonts are installed, but because Prabhuji's PDF is there, I think when Prabhuji translated it, the fonts were different. So this is supposed to be Shadvar, which is like S-A-D. S-A-D changed to N-A-O. This is Shanbhir Bhakti Vinashyati. So we can understand. The test two focuses on six activities to avoid. Remember, in verse one, we said the same thing, six verses to avoid, and then gains achieved by avoiding them. So if we get rid of this, we haven't even started bhakti yet, but we are getting to the platform. Just get rid of it. For example, if somebody smokes, somebody drinks, somebody have non-vegetarian bad habits, you just need to get rid of them. Most of the time, doctors say if you are vegetarian. Somebody said to me recently for some reason, and said, how do you keep it well for some reason? And my reply was, well, non-smoking, non-alcoholic, vegetarian lifestyle. I don't have to do anything else. So this is a great start for all of us. And so if we get rid of those six things, gains are achieved not by doing anything, but by not doing these things. तो अगर हम ये छह चीजें नहीं करें तो हमारा शरीर और हमें जो मानसिक रूप से प्रभाव पड़ेगा, वो ये छह चीजें, कोई एक्स्ट्रा चीज करने से फायदा नहीं है। ये छह चीजें ना ही करने से हमें फायदा हो जाएगा, और अगर कुछ करेंगे और तो और अच्छी बात है। लेकिन और कोई चीज ना भी करें, हम ना वॉक पे जाएं, ना हम जिम जाएं, ये चीजें ना भी करें, लेकिन अगर ये चीजें, छह चीजें जो हैं, इनका ध्यान रखेंगे हम, तो ही हमको डायरेक्टली फायदा हो सकता है। हम देखेंगे बहुत ही प्रैक्टिकल चीजें हैं। लॉसेस बाय नॉट अवॉइडिंग दीज सिक्स एक्टिविटीज, अगर हम ये चीजें, वो छह चीजों को नहीं खोएंगे, तो फिर हम कुछ भी कर लें, हमें नुकसान होगा ही होगा। अब बार बार ये प्रभु जी दिख रहे हैं पिक्चर के अंदर, जो बड़ा सा पिज्जा खा रहे हैं, आई गेस पिज्जा और बर्गर इनके हाथ में है। तो हम समझ सकते हैं पहला जो वर्ड है संस्कृत का वो है अत्याहारा। आहार हम कहते हैं व्हाट वी ईट, अत्य इज अ लॉट, ओवर ईटिंग और टू मच ईटिंग, हेंस दिस इज देयर। एंड देन वी विल सी मोर, वी कैन सी द सेकंड पिक्चर हियर इज वेयर इट्स अ प्रयासा, अत्याहारा प्रयासच्चा। So endeavor, endeavor is required, every kind of endeavor is there, but over endeavor is going to give us stress. And that's the main thing we need to understand. Eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required is called atyahara. So ahara, it usually considered as eating, but here consuming, collecting. We only need, I don't know, I don't want to guide it, but do we need more than three or four pairs of anything? Four shirts, five shirts, let's say. If you go office, even though we don't go office, well, it depends which part of the world we are in. But for example, in London, hardly you go 5 days a week. Even if you'll go 5 days and you have five shirts, those five shirts will go for 6 months or a year easy. If you have two trousers, that will do. But how many we have? And because we have so many, so somebody was saying, "Oh, I got these gloves, and I've been waiting, looking for the gloves, and I can't find it." Oh, because we have so much unnecessary stuff that the necessary stuff is kind of hidden inside there. So if we get rid of unnecessary, the necessary stuffs are more accessible to us. तो जो चीजें हमें नहीं चाहिए, जैसे कि अक्सर हम कहते हैं दिवाली, ओ दिवाली पे क्या करते हैं, दिवाली पे नए कपड़े लेते हैं। अरे दिवाली प्रभु राम जी के लिए हम मनाएं, उससे हम क्या शिक्षा ले सकते हैं, हमारे चरित्र भगवान राम की तरह बने, उसकी जगह सबसे पहले दिवाली के ऊपर हम नए कपड़े लेते हैं। क्या हमें चाहिए? क्या हमें जरूरत है? नहीं, हमें जरूरत नहीं है, पर दिवाली पे नए कपड़े लेते हैं, दिवाली पे मिठाई खाते हैं। क्या चाहिए? नहीं, वो मिठाई जो कि हम खुद अपने लिए खरीद के नहीं खाएंगे। अगर हम शुगर नहीं लेते हैं, अक्सर मार्केट में तो एनीवेज वाइट शुगर से, चीनी से कुछ बनता है, वो हम खुद अपने लिए नहीं लेंगे, लेकिन अपने प्रियजन जिनको हम स्नेह करते हैं, प्रेम करते हैं, चाहे वो हमारे फैमिली मेंबर्स हों, रिलेटिव्स हों, या वो क्लोज फ्रेंड्स हों, क्योंकि हम जिनको भी मिठाई दे रहे हैं वो हमारे अपने ही हैं। हम अनजाने को तो किसी को जाके दिवाली की मिठाई देते नहीं है। हालांकि अगर दें तो अच्छी बात है, लेकिन कौन सी मिठाई दे रहे हैं हमें देखना चाहिए। और वो चीज अत्ते में आ जाता है, अत्तेहारा, क्या उसकी जरूरत है? हम फ्रूट्स भी दे सकते हैं, क्योंकि फ्रूट्स की बॉडी को जरूरत है, लेकिन वो जो हम मिठाई देते हैं जो हमारे लिए नहीं है, लेकिन वही है कि अगर कल्चर यही है, तो कल्चर के चक्कर में सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग। सो जब हम भक्तों के साथ में रहते हैं, ग्रंथों में रहते हैं हम, और वर्स 3 एंड वर्स 4 में हम देखेंगे कि भक्त क्या, कौन सी ऐसी 6 चीजें हैं जो भक्त आपस में एक्सचेंज करते हैं। तो वो भी एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, क्योंकि भक्त बहुत ही प्रिय होते हैं। हमारे एक राधा गोविंद प्रभु जी हैं, जिन्होंने कल भक्ति वेदांत मैनर के अंदर दिया। प्रभु जी बहुत साल ब्रह्मचारी थे, अभी रिसेंटली रिसेंटली नहीं, आई थिंक कपल ऑफ इयर्स प्रभु जी की मैरिज हुई। अभी उनके बहुत अच्छे एक सुंदर पुत्र है। तो हम टेंपल नहीं जा पाए थे, प्रभु जी को हमने ऑनलाइन सुना, उनकी पूरी क्लास सुनी, उसके बाद प्रभु जी को मैसेज भेजा, तो प्रभु जी को बहुत अच्छा लगा। ऑफ कोर्स, तो ये हम मैसेज दिया तो अभी याद आया कि नेक्टर ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन वर्स 3 वर्स 4 के अंदर देखेंगे, जो 6 चीजें हम चेंज करते हैं उसमें से एक ये चीज आती है कि भक्त आपस में एक दूसरे के साथ में प्रेम पूर्वक एक्सचेंजेस करते हैं। उसके अंदर आपका कोई पैसा नहीं लगता, उसके अंदर एक दूसरे को प्रोत्साहन मिलता है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हमारे अनिल प्रभु जी आज हमारे साथ में इस क्लास में नहीं आ पाए हैं, क्योंकि प्रभु जी की तबीयत सही नहीं है। तो प्रभु जी के टच में हम हैं, प्रभु जी को हम ऑब्वियसली उनके लिए माला करते हैं। प्रभु जी को ये एक जो शिला प्रभुपाद जी ने इतना प्यारा परिवार दिया है, इसके अंदर अत्तेहारा प्रयासच्चा प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रह, ये सारी चीजें अपने आप ही, अगर हम ए फॉर एसोसिएशन के अंदर रहें, ये पूर्ण हो जाती हैं। इसलिए कुछ भी करें, कहीं पे भी रहें, भक्तों के संग में रहें, भक्त ही धक्का मार के आगे पहुंचा देंगे। पर भक्तों का साथ कभी ना छोड़ें, चाहे जितना भी पतन हो जाए, भक्तों का साथ ना छूटे। चाहे जितने भी पतन हो जाए, पर भक्तों का साथ ना छूटे। ये कई बार भक्त भगवान से प्रार्थना में मांगते हैं कि अगर भगवान से कुछ मांगना ही है तो क्या मांगे, भगवान भक्ति दे दें। लेकिन अगर भक्ति, मैं इस लायक ही नहीं हूं कि मुझे भक्ति दे दे। माने अगर मैं डॉक्टर की डिग्री लेने जाए, एन इंजीनियर बाय प्रोफेशन, आई डोंट डिजर्व डॉक्टरेट डिग्री, but what can I ask for? That at least give me the wisdom to stay with those who have doctorate degrees so I can get their wisdom. They can guide. And that's so true. अगर हमारे कुछ ऐसे फ्रेंड्स हैं जो डॉक्टर्स हैं, आप उनसे फोन पे बात करके उनसे राय ले सकते हैं। तो अगर आप एक अच्छे भक्त नहीं भी बन पाए, अगर वो प्रोग्रेस नहीं भी हो पा रही किसी भी वजह से, लेकिन भक्तों का साथ ना छोड़। हरे कृष्ण। तो प्रयासच्चा ओवर एंडेवरिंग, प्रयास हिंदी में हम कहते हैं प्रयास बहुत किया, ओवर एंडेवरिंग फॉर मुंडेन थिंग्स दैट आर वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू ऑब्टेन। सो वी शुड डू ओवर एंडेवर, but for what? To wake up early in the morning, to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion every single day. We should do a lot of over endeavor for that. But for mundane things, to get a promotion, maybe a lot of people they do it. I said working very very late, talking unnecessarily, prajalpa, we heard that word, prajalpa. This is where we say gossips, mundane things. Of course we need to be socially aware. Maybe we need to know the cricket world cup is happening, and maybe we need to know that India won cricket world cup, but do we need to know all the stats behind it? Do we really need to know that? Maybe not. Maybe not. Similarly, in the politics or political circumstances, whatever is going on, we do need to be aware, but do we really need to know which kind of missiles going on? Unless, of course, if that's our profession. Well, so much news reading, news watching goes in, and all that is not required for us. Not at all required for us. So remember, we've been doing 1, 2, 3. So eating. So first word attehara, then prayasacha, then prajalpa. Attehara is overeating, over absorbing, over consuming, over collecting. Prayasacha, over endeavor for wrong things, for mundane things. Can't say wrong thing, but mundane things. Prayasacha is required, but not a lot of prayasa, just to get a little bit. Prajalpa, always be very cautious what we're going to talk about. Then we have Niyamagraha. Again, Yam, Niyam, discipline. Niyam Agraha. So Niyam Agraha, we did see the word to word translation last time. and it's there on the link I've shared. Niyam, as you can understand, rules and regulation. Agraha, too much attachment to the discipline. Now, what kind of? Of course, if it's too much attachment to Krishna consciousness, that's really good. Um, Baldaini Mataji in Mathura Desh in Muscat, she has moved now, but she said, even when the things were not going right, she was traveling so much for all the preaching work. But she said, at the end of the day, whenever she will go to the bed, she will put Srila Prabhupadaji's audio and she will not sleep until she will listen at least one audio of from Srila Prabhupada. And of course, though a lot of those videos, audios are available these days on YouTube. But we also have Srila Prabhupadaji's voice box, I think they call it. I also got one. And then even if you're going for a walk, you can have it attached. These days on YouTube and on ISKCON Desire Tree, a lot of others are also available. But this was battery operated. You could just put a couple of AAA batteries and you can go for a walk and you can keep listening, or you can just play wherever you want. That's good. Attachment to spiritual is good, but attachment to material, we got to be really thankful. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting them and working independently or whimsically. Whimsically is I used this word whimsically in one of the sessions, and somebody at the end said to me, that was a live discourse, and somebody, I think the Mataji came to me and said that I really like that word you use, whimsically. And we will finish on this word today. Whimsically is where there's not much logic behind, there's no uh, thinking behind. It just because I wanted to do it. That's it. I don't know. I don't know why I did it. I just wanted to do it. That's whimsically. Just out of thin air, you thought of it and you did it. There wasn't any justification, any logic, any reasoning at all. Whimsically, I did it without thinking. You can't ask anything. I wouldn't know any answer to that because whimsically, I did it. I don't know why I do these things. We should not do this. And now the time is up. We have covered 4 things out of 6. We will come back and we will cover rest of them. And there are a lot more examples given in this by a lot of acharyas and senior Vaishnavas. So I will discuss that as well. We will discuss and then we will get into detail. So thank you so much for everyone's presence today, for your blessings, for just being here, for your encouragement. I look forward to see you, all of you, next week at the same time. With that, Chila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.
Hare
Hare,
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Dhamma Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Dhamma Pranam Mataji. Hare Hare Bol.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you so much. Look forward to see you